Have you ever scrolled through social media and realized that American has gotten a reputation for consuming unhealthy food among other countries? You might have felt slightly offended, right? But you also realize that they're not fully wrong. Recently, I had my blood drawn for testing. The doctor office called me and said I had high cholesterol, which is surprising to me because I've been avoiding fast food prior to the testing for a while prior to the testing. So despite limiting my fast food intake, I still had a high cholesterol intake, which I realized that it is difficult to avoid food high in fat and sugar because of how dominant it has become in our world. Those food are called ultra-processed food, and it can include things such as a Starbucks drink, milk tea, or the typical hot dog, chips, and burgers. In recent decades, ultra-processed food has become an important issue since it negatively impacts individuals' health, especially in America. I will explain the negative impact of ultra-processed food consumption has on a individual physical, emotional, and cognitive health. Ultra-processed food increase risk of physical issues since they lack essential nutrients while being high in calories and healthy fat and additives. According to Stanford Medicine, the researcher at Stanford wrote in 2025 that ultra-processed food is categorized as readily available, tasty, and low cost. These factors make ultra-processed food more appealing to people, especially those who are looking for something quick to eat. Stanford noted that ultra-processed food are curated to be more appetizing and less satiating, so that it encourages overconsumption. So if you think about chips, soda, and ice cream, you will realize that it takes a lot to fill you up, and you wouldn't also be bored of it. Research discovered that diet high in ultra-processed food increased risk of death and disease. Ultra-processed food can damage gut health because it's low in fiber, which is an important nutrient in which our gut micro feeds on. Without fiber from a diet, the micro will eat the gut mucus lining and increase the risk of infection and inflammation. Additional additives from ultra-processed food can also damage gut health by disrupting the gut microbiome. Stanford stated that the diet high in ultra-processed food increased obesity risk by 55%. Furthermore, research found convincing evidence that ultra-processed food increased death from cardiovascular disease by 50% and early death from any cause by 25%. Aside from the negative impact on a person's physical health, ultra-processed foods have also been found to cause mental health problems. Ultra-processed food increase the risk of mental health problems such as anxiety, mood disorder, and depressive symptoms, according to a 2020 study from National Library of Medicine conducted by Zhang and her co-workers. They discovered that participants with high energy intake from ultra-processed food has a 35% more higher risk of developing depressive symptoms. Researchers say that since ultra-processed food lack the healthy nutrients such as zinc, iron, and vitamins, which are protective factors against depression. This article also explained that ultra-processed food damage to the gut microbiome can affect central nervous system through the microbiome gut and brain axis. Obesity risk from ultra-processed food can lead to a sedentary lifestyle, which can result in the lack of activities. So it impacts a person's mental state because researchers have shown that adequate activity is required for good mental well-being. As children develop, similar to how ultra-processed food increase risk of emotional issues, the lack of nutrients can impair cognitive functioning. As children develop, many parts of their body are more vulnerable to lack of nutrients, which include their developing brain. Since children ultra-processed food consumption has risen as a reflection of their parents' changing diet too. However, ultra-processed food lack nutrients, which is harmful for the developing brain of children. Who need those nutrients. According to National Library of Medicine in 2022, researcher Goncalves and his colleague discovered that ultra-processed food has been linked to cognitive decline. In conclusion, ultra-processed food contributes to many health issues. Today, we have covered ways in which ultra-processed food impact an individual health, physical, emotional, and cognitive health. The topic of ultra-processed food consumption is an important issue that must be discussed since it negatively impacts the well-being of Americans. Having a nutritious diet and exercise is one important key to living a fulfilling life.